Welcome back to SwitchCorner, and it's time to take a look at my favourite deals across the Switch eShops covering the US, Canada, UK, EU and Australia. Now as always, this Saturday edition it is any price goes, meaning it can get a little bit expensive, but I will say today I do have a few more budget options thrown in as well. Now if you are looking for exclusively budget titles, do check out the Thursday edition where we keep everything sub $10 or of course your local currency. As always then I do have two winners to announce for two $10 eShop gift cards. Winners they'll be announced as we go through today's video. To enter for a chance to win one of those two gift cards this week, as always just drop a quick comment down below. So with that, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here, join our growing family and let's get started. So kicking off the week then, a smaller discount but collapsed, it's coming in with 20% off. This is a relatively new game, so it's nice to see any sort of saving, and it is a solid roguelike action platformer. I'll be honest, and I say this in my review over on the channel, at first it just didn't click with me. The first hour or so, it felt like it pulled from a whole lot of influences without really adding its own, identity. And then the controls, they kind of felt almost sluggish. Then though, something clicked. The controls, I got a grasp of the moveset available to me, and this just made the pace of the gameplay go from 0 to 100 very quickly, and I started to have a good time with it. That is especially thanks to the fact this one changes the location and the biomes so frequently. Expect here of course to die a lot and then be repeating run after run, but to aid you in your mission to succeed, expect to be working with a skill tree and even some crafting in the hub world. Now outside of a little burnout at the end game, I will say I can get behind this one. Just maybe expect, as I say, a bit of a slow burner opening as you get to grips with this world's rules. Now I did also say in my review on this one, wait for a sale, and well, here it is, even if it is more on the minimal side of things. Alright, so moving out, I picked this one up myself in a past video and it was around the $20 mark at the time. Now it's a new all-time low, offering 40% off. Not sure I would personally recommend this for solo players at this price. I'd probably be waiting sub $10. But I played it with friends and I had a lot more fun than I expected. Offering up to 4-player local play, no online sadly here. The idea is simple. You are newly certified furniture arrangement and relocation technician, and you'll be basically taking on moving jobs across the town of Packmore. Here it's basically Overcooked Furniture Edition. Visit locations though and get all the goods out to the truck. It's a good laugh with friends this one, and it is for sure over the top. You'll start in houses but expect to soon see yourself in planes and even locations in outer space. Overall, we had fun, it's something we return to, and it has all the vibrant visuals and character designs you could ever honestly want. Alright, so I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that sponsor is, me, because why not? I've launched merch because I had a ton of questions around the SwitchCorner t-shirt you will see me in pretty frequently, and I wanted to try a few different companies first before I did put anything out there. Quality was important to me, and getting it in my own hands first just to check it out. Now, I won't name any names for sure, but manufacturers out there's some real low quality stuff, but I finally settled on Crowdmade to support me. You'll find it all linked below the video, but we do have a t-shirt, a hoodie and a sweatshirt, both with and without the SwitchCorner name. So yeah, if you've ever wanted neon Joy-Cons on your chest, now is your chance. Do not touch the sticker though, it's priced at $6, which is absolutely insane. I need to talk to them about lowering that price first. Alright, with that shameless plug over, let's keep going with some games. So matching its all-time low then, Fation Guerilla Remastered Edition, which might be the dumbest name on the eShop, but I do still appreciate what they did there. I have been holding out and talking about this one. I was hoping to maybe see something a bit lower, maybe even sub $10, but it seems this is going to be as good as it gets for some time. 50% off though, still a solid deal, and it's one I picked up personally physically on release date. I love this game back at release. I think it was the 360 I had it on, and this is an absolutely solid port. Faction, it actually started its life as a great first-person shooter where destructible environments was kind of the big twist, but it was also a big deal at the time. This sequel, it took that same formula but attached it to a third-person open world concept. Wouldn't expect brains here with your gameplay honestly, but if you like the idea of just trekking across Mars, blowing shit up, all while doing your best Arnie Total Recall impression, this might very well be the game for you. Throw in the fact that it includes all the DLC, and the whole idea here, I really like the idea of this being an insurgent battling for liberation. It's an entertaining ride, and yeah, think this is a really good pickup. I also think it's a great looking game when you factor in the original release now was like just over 11 years ago, which is like kind of crazy to think about. Alright, so budget option time. Worms WMD coming in with a mighty 75% off and a new all-time low. So Worms, for the few people that may not know, it's a turn-based strategic like battle simulator, I guess, but it's got a great sense of humour. You'll control a squadron of worms through either single player, local or online play. With an out there sense of humour, loads of weapons, the idea is basically simple, like jump in and execute as many like enemies as you can. It's a lot more challenging than you may well expect, though. You got to work out like the trajectory and the angle of all of your weapons to make sure there's an impact. Worms as a series is one I grew up on, so it's great to see this legacy continuing, and this one it even sees the introduction of a whole host of new levels and even vehicles, which is absolutely amazing. You'll need to get used to the controls. I played this originally on the Amiga, so yeah, getting my head around, you know, not having a mouse and keyboard at my disposal, it took a little while, but once you get it, it's the same Worms you know and love. This one, it did also get a physical release as well from Super Rare Games, but that's selling for close to $300, so this 75% off is probably the way I would recommend you go, as much as I love my physical. Alright, so let's take a look at the more obvious side of the deals then. Bandai Namco are back, which seems to be like every few weeks at this point, so I do mostly ignore it, but expect here to find the mighty Tales of Vesperia matching the usual all-time low, and then the same thing with the likes of like Katamari, Sword Art Online, and even like Dragon Ball Xenoverse. But I do want to talk about two games, Taiko no Tatsujin Drum and Fun. Not a new all-time low, but matching the previous low. Mentioned this in my Switch Gem series, and with good reason, absolutely incredible, but mainly when you use the drum controller that never did see a release here in the US. I think it dropped in like Japan and Europe though. That said, it's finally getting a US release, and it is this week on the 13th of the month for $70. It's not cheap, but if you like rhythm, I can get behind this. I'd even maybe have a video on the drum later in the week if there is enough interest in seeing one. Here though, likewise, if you worried one game for it might not be enough to like justify the cost of the drum, there is another Taiko game dropping towards the end of the year, which actually combines the rhythm goodness you see here, but with RPG elements, and I cannot wait for it. So while I'm on rhythm games, my pickup of the week before we get to our first winner, Groove Coaster YY Party, and that is not a typo, 4 exclamation points. They really wanted to make their point. The idea seems to be you're riding a roller coaster, hitting notes as you go, but you wouldn't really be able to tell from the, the visuals, honestly. They are very simplistic, but from what I hear, still absolutely solid in action. Expect here a soundtrack leaning more into like anime and J-pop, and I've been waiting on a lower price on this one, but I just don't see it happening, so I'm going to take the gamble. Reviews are good, there is a ton of DLC already on the eShop, but the main reason I'm honestly picking this one up, there's an Undertale like audio pack that I've got to check out. They ain't cheap though, they're coming in around the $16 mark as well, so it's for sure niche. I just don't know if we will see any lower anytime soon, so yeah, screw it, taking a bit of a bigger hit this week, but it is still a decent 25% off. Alright, so before we get to the first winner of the week, I want to highlight 3 launch day discounts that I really like. I'm going to keep it quick, but they expire soon, so I want to shout out Pumpkin Jack, a medieval Halloween inspired old school 3D platformer, 20% off. And then No More Heroes 1 and 2. Well, No More Heroes, they're only 10% off right now. They are great games and already worth the budget asking price, so maybe check them out before that deal is gone if you want some seriously just over the top action hack and slash with a great if weird sense of humour, and for sure an 18+ rating. I reviewed all 3 of them though over on the channel if you want to learn a little bit more. So the first one of the week, it's going to Brufflef, and while I don't normally include pictures, I feel like a fire-breathing penguin absolutely deserved the extra screen space. Finally thinking about picking up Darkest Dungeon though, I can tell you I am a big fan of this one, and it is well worth a look. Tough as nails, but probably one of the best indies on the console, no question. Congrats though, drop me an email, you'll find it in the video description below to claim your code. With that, I do still have of course another winner to announce, but first some more games. Alright, so a smaller discount but still a new all-time low, Project Warlock, it's coming in with 20% off. May not save you a huge chunk of your cash, but it's still a fantastic game, and it's one I featured again in my Gem series. This is for all the like old school shooter fans out there, the 90s era like Dooms of the world. Story, not important, you're a lone warrior out to like eradicate all evil, but where the game has it is absolutely that gunplay, with 60 levels taking place over 5 different worlds and just a ton of weapons, enemies and secrets. an absolute blast. Plus those locations, they go all over the shop, keeping things fresh. To modernise things just a slight bit, then you can even level up your warrior with skills in between missions. This one's great though, the visuals I love, and it truly is just a tribute to the classics, while still bringing enough to the table that it has its own identity. So a couple quick mentions then before we do get to the second one of the week. First, Ash of God's Redemption. Mentioned this one like maybe 3-4 weeks back, got a lot of comments pointing it out, and now it's back, and with an even better sale. It's offering 45% off. It's a Banner Saga clone from the graphics through to the gameplay, but it is a good one. It's one I also reviewed over on the channel. If you like heavy story, then heavy grid-based turn-based combat, this is well worth a look. It's telling the story of 3 heroes facing ancient evil, so if you like your fantasy and you finished things up with Banner Saga, this should probably be your next stop. Then a budget one, and one I picked up not too long back, but the Shmup Collection. It's coming in with 50% off, and there's a good review of this from Star or Shovelware, who actually broke out the titles individually, which I do appreciate, and it's bringing together Arm 7 DX and Satysius, which are both side-scrolling shooters, and then Wolfflame, which is actually vertical. My favourites here are actually Armed and Satysius, which is rare because I normally prefer vertical shooters, but all 3 of them well worth a look. You can pick the titles up individually, but this price for the 3-pack, more than worth it for retro fans. So the second winner of the week then, and it's going to Deku the Kid, who I see on the channel a whole lot in the comments, so yeah, congrats. Hoping to get a 1TB card in the upcoming Black Friday sale. I do not blame you, I actually need one myself, so I can get out of this habit of archiving games as I get new ones, only to have to go back and reinstall them the next time I play. Congrats, so you're going to find my email below, so do drop me a quick email to claim that code. Everyone else, as always, thanks for entering, and remember to drop a comment down below for your chance to win this week. Now with that, let's wrap things up with our last 2 games. So our penultimate game of the week then, Fairy Tail, and I'm going to put it out there now, not the biggest fan of this game. I reviewed it on the channel where I went in depth to what you can expect, along with a number of flaws that it does have. That said, plenty of Fairy Tail fans out there, and I did see many in the comments saying they're probably going to wait on a sale first, so here is our first real decent one, as it's offering 30% off. As a noob to the series, I was relatively lost with the story, picking things up well into the series, but it's also basic enough that I was able to still find some enjoyment in there, as well as some of the humour. That all said, fans will no doubt find something to like here, and it's basically all just one big excuse to revisit the characters and some particular story arcs. Expect here some basic exploration though, and then the usual turn-based combat. Check out the full review though, it's nearly 20 minutes long. There is a decent amount to cover to see if this one is for you. So the final game of the week then, and I haven't talked about this in some time, but I'm feeling obvious this week. Monster Hunter Generations. It's at an all-time new low. An unpopular opinion here, but I actually stick to Monster Hunter World on my PS4 instead, and then I actually play God Eater free on my Switch, but I can also understand the love folks have for this one. The concept's simple enough though. Choose a warrior, choose their inventory, and yeah, set out on a hunt against a whole host of huge monsters. What it lacks in a sense of story or anything else really, it makes up for in 2 areas. That gameplay loop is super addictive honestly, and once you get into it, it's hard to put down. Then just the whole jumping online with friends to work as a team, it's easily one of the best multiplayer experiences out there. I'm excited for Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter Stories next year. If you don't own this already though, it is a great price, it is a great game as well, but it does have a demo available if you do want to check it out first before you buy it. Overall though, it's a solid upgrade of what was originally a 3DS game. Just be prepared here to lose hours of your life if you do head into this one. That's why I personally stick with God Eater. One Monster Hunter is honestly enough for me. And that is it, another week down. Will you be adding anything to your collection, or are you now holding off and waiting on the no doubt upcoming Black Friday deals? Pretty sure we're going to see some solid prices this year, just with everything that's happened in 2020, so I'm excited to see what is on offer. With that then, a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. Helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. If you do want to check that out for yourself, I have linked it in the video description down below. Then finally, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.